the Azerothian embassy. Yes, I know. New surroundings. It's only temporary, while pest control handles the problem. Come, take a seat by the fire. The Green Dragonflight, the most reclusive and enigmatic of the 5 flights. While they mostly stay out of mortal affairs, the flight has still had a profound impact on our world today. Let's look at their history together. But I would like to say thank you, and don't forget to like and subscribe. The tale begins much like the other 4. Ysera, a shimmering green and yellow worm and sister to Alexstrasza, the Dragon Queen, would help in a great battle against a titanic beast named Galakrond. Although, it should be noted that Ysera tried to sue for peace, right up until it was no longer possible. After the battle was won, the Titan Keeper Tia saw great potential in 5 of the many flights that fought, and convinced the others that imbuing them with a portion of their strength would make them the perfect guardians for Azeroth. Ysera was born sickly, and were it not for the care of her older sister, she would not have survived. Now, however, she is more than capable of looking after herself. It was the Titan Aeonar that imbued her with a portion of her immense power, and charged her with the safeguarding of the Emerald Dream. The Dream is a place where the blueprints for all life's creations on Azeroth may be stored. She fell into an almost eternal trance and earned herself the title, the Dreamer. As the years passed, the Green Flight, like all of Dragonkind, flourished and reached the zenith of their mighty civilization. Then everything changed. The Night Elven Queen Ysera inadvertently caused an endless, demonic army known as the Burning Legion to invade. Led by the mad titan Sargeras, they intended to wipe out all life in the universe. The Green Dragonflight, like the others, rushed to the mortals' aid and attempted to push back the Horde, until Neltharion, leader of the Black Dragonflight, came to the others with a plan. He would have them create a magical device imbued with the power of the 5 aspects, and use it to defeat the Legion. Ysera would pour much of her power into the device, that would now be called the Dragon's Soul. Once forged, the device was unleashed, and it devastated the Legion. However, in a Great Betrayal, Neltharion would unleash it also against the mortals and the other dragons themselves. One of the red dragons would disrupt Neltharion for a brief moment, and buy the other flights time to stop him in a counterattack. Malygos, leader of the Blue Flight, charged first, but the cost was unimaginable. The device was fully unleashed, killing all but a handful of blue dragons, and Neltharion would escape, leaving the dragons broken in his wake. None of the flights would ever truly recover from these events. The mortals did eventually secure victory, although the world was sundered and the great races of Azeroth were ravaged. Ysera, along with her sister Alexstrasza, would visit what was left of the Night Elves, where they had made a second Well of Eternity. From the dream, she took an acorn of the Tree of All Trees Gahania and placed it into the magical water. It would instantly spring to life and grow to an enormous size. The now named Nordrassil, the World Tree, would safeguard this well from prying eyes. Ysera bound the colossal tree to the Emerald Dream, and the Night Elven males who would go on to be druids. As part of this pact, the druids would sleep for hundreds of years at a time, so they may help the Green Flight safeguard the dream. In this sleep, they would deepen their connection to nature, and it would nourish their body and soul. The bond between the Kaldorei and the Green Flight grew deeper, even so much as allowing a faction of the elves to ride some of her brood into battle. They would come to be known as the Dragonriders of Loreth'Aran. That is, until Neltharion, now known as Deathwing, grew enraged and had the elves and dragons of the Isles slaughtered. Thousands of years passed, until the next time the Green Flight shows up in history. A new war had broken out between the elves and a race of giant insectoid creatures known as the Karaji. When called upon for aid, the Green Flight assisted without hesitation, and with the help of the other flights, pushed back the abominations, sealing them within Ankiraj. The fighting against the Karaji saw minimal losses for the Green Flight. That is, with the exception of Merithra, the daughter of Ysera, who was believed lost during the final push. She was not dead, however. Merithra, a blue dragon, and a red dragon were captured and tortured by the Karaji lords, using them to power their new monstrosities, such as the Obsidian Destroyers. 1,000 years later, the ruins would be reopened and Merithra would be saved. On the other continent, however, another great evil was brewing. The exiled priest of the Gurubashi tribe of trolls had erected a temple to their dark blood god. Inside, they had begun the preparations to bring Hakar the Soulflayer into the world. Ysera would put a swift stop to this and smash the temple beneath the waters, leaving one of her consorts, Aranicus, and a brood of green dragons to make sure that none may enter or leave the sunken temple. Much time passed, and then, shortly before the events of the Second War, a powerful orc warlock, Necros, had found the dragon soul, now more aptly named the Demon Soul. The warlock used this to subjugate Alexstrasza and much of the Red Flight. Once Ysera learned what happened, she tried to help where she could, convincing the Bronze and the Blue Flights to help. The great battle at the fortress of Batol took place. Seizing on an opportunity, the Dragonflights attacked in unison, and with the help of a human mage, the Orc Warlock was killed and the Demon Soul destroyed forever. With the artifact's destruction, the portioned power was released back to the flights, making them whole once more. Using this new advantage, they pushed back Deathwing. At some unknown point in time, the greatest threat to the Green Dragonflight began to emerge. It was called the Emerald Nightmare, a thick shroud that consumed the dream, warping and twisting reality with it. This abomination was the dark work of the old gods. Creatures who came into contact with the nightmare became their mad slaves. Ysera and her brood began to fervently fight back, but the nightmare only grew, and even began seeping into Azeroth. Many people were trapped in an endless nightmare, and those that were still awake were forced to fight against them in their madness. This time would come to be known as the War Against the Nightmare. Many of Ysera's most powerful lieutenants fell to the corrupting influence. Aranicus, the prime consort, also fell prey to the corruption, but was later cleansed by Tyrande, wielding the light of the moon goddess Elune. In a last-ditch effort to put a stop to the spread, the Green Dragonflight, with the aid of mortals, managed to seal the corruption within the Rift of Aun in the dream. Although Aranicus had to sacrifice himself to make this happen. Within the rift, it would bide its time, searching for any cracks within its prison to escape and begin infecting the world once again. It did just that. Under the leadership of the now Nightmare Lord Xavius, he managed to capture the first Archdruid Malfurion and get his hands on a powerful magical artifact named the Tear of Elune. When Ysera came to the mortal's aid, he used it to corrupt her to the nightmare. It was unthinkable, but the mortals had to fight the corrupted aspect and eventually slay her. And upon her demise, Elune herself reached out and guided the spirit of Ysera to the afterlife, cleansing her spirit of any corruption. Now without an aspect, Merithra has since become the de facto leader, but many Greens still do not agree she should lead, and has not yet taken her place as the new aspect. They have been quite busy, considering they sleep for thousands of years at a time. Come to think of it, I wouldn't mind a nap myself. Fingers crossed for a visit from the nightmare. We all know it's not gone forever. Stop by anytime.